Well, welcome everyone to the virtual college exploration for all Illinois students sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admissions Counseling and Services. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to your presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at IACAC.org. The presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, IACAC.org. I'd like to now turn it over to our presenter.
All right, well, good evening. This session is about the University of Pittsburgh, and my name is Betsy Stevens, and I'm the Enrollment Services Manager based in Illinois. On the screen here, you'll see the word unscripted, and this is the branding that we're gonna use for all of our events this fall. So obviously at this point, we can't have students and families on our campus, so we're looking for new ways to engage with prospective students like you. So we'll be offering a variety of different events, including essay writing workshops, tours of our campus with students who have GoPros on their head, showing us the residence halls, giving us a live look at what's going on, in addition to our traditional academic program visits, etc. So like I said, my name's Betsy, and I work exclusively with Illinois students. So I work with approximately 600 applications from the state each year, and my goal is to get to know you on a one-on-one basis. So feel free to contact me at any point if you have questions, and you've probably already gotten some contact from me as well. But I've been with Pitt for the past 5 years. It's a great university. I love visiting. There's a lot of similarities between Pittsburgh and the greater Chicagoland area. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Illinois, so Arlington Heights. I went to Prospect High School, and I reside in the western suburbs right now. I can assist you through this process, the search process, the application process, advocating for you in a variety of ways, and just provide some guidance for you. So the University of Pittsburgh, better known as Pitt, is a mid to large state-related university with approximately 19,000 undergraduates. So we're somewhere in between a mid and large size school, and academically, we can offer our students more of that mid-size experience. So an engaging classroom environment, relatively small class sizes, and our students can really personalize their education at the university. Outside of the classroom, much more like a larger institution experience in regards to our extracurricular activities and what you can do within the campus community and the city. So we're located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a neighborhood called Oakland, which is about 3 miles outside of the downtown area. My favorite things about Pitt include the location. I'll show you another picture of our campus, but you can see the downtown skyline in the background. Just a really beautiful place for our students to spend the next 4 years of their lives. We're sort of like a college town, located around a city. So it's not a contained campus, but it definitely has that campus-like feel. I also really enjoy the engagement of faculty, students, and staff and how they collaborate together. And lastly, just the pride that our students have. Pitt is a campus where students are always wearing blue and gold and only Pitt clothes. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about our location, what we have to offer academically, what our students do for fun, and then lastly, I'll touch on the application process. So this is a snapshot of our campus, most of it at least. The heart of our campus is that beautiful building you see right in the center. So that's the Cathedral of Learning, and it's where our students tend to congregate. And we always say if you don't know where you are, look to Kathy, the Cathedral of Learning, and you can figure out where you need to go. So our Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences is located here. So if you're a liberal arts student, a lot of your classes will be held in this building. Our Honors College is located on the top 2 floors. We have these nationality rooms on the first 3 floors, which are ornately decorated classrooms from when this building was built, and it's where a lot of the smaller classes will be held. We also have additional study space and some dining options here. The inside is really beautiful. It's been compared to Harry Potter's Hogwarts. So if you're a fan, it might be a building you want to Google later on tonight. But it just reminds me a lot of the history and the charm and the character of the city and of the university. It really stands out in a city that is evolving and innovating. And Oakland is a neighborhood where we're located. So there's 89 neighborhoods in the city of Pittsburgh. And ours is known as an area of education because there are two other universities in our neighborhood called Carnegie Mellon University and Carlow University. We're also an epicenter for the health, for the medical field. So we have 6 hospitals on our campus, 5 of which are affiliated with the university. So incredible access for our students who are interested in the health sciences field. And lastly, we're a really diverse city. So in addition to the cultural diversity, a lot of opportunities for our students to go visit the museums in our neighborhood. And like I said earlier, we're located in the city, so just 3 miles outside of the downtown area. And it's about a 15-minute bus ride for our students. The great thing about being a Pitt student is that you will have free public transportation using your student ID. So there's never a need to really have a car on campus. I wouldn't encourage students to have a car just because it's not as easy to get around, and you have this free service at your fingertips. So the bus will take you all over Allegheny County, which is basically anywhere you need to go, and also to the airport. So very convenient resource for our students to utilize. In the downtown area, our students will find a lot of opportunities for internships with the local businesses and corporations. We're a great foodie city, so if you like to eat, lots of different cuisine for our students to choose from. We have several professional sports teams, the cultural district, which is a great place for entertainment for our students, and several museums as well. And in this picture, you'll see a night picture of the picturesque downtown area. We're a city of 3 rivers, and there's endless gold and yellow bridges for our students to look at. It's just like a signature Pittsburgh look. And Pittsburgh is very similar to Chicago, just much smaller and not as densely populated. You know, we're not exactly Midwest, we're not East Coast, we're a really nice mix of the two cultures, and I find that our students acclimate well to the Midwest nice culture. This is just a quick snapshot of what we have to offer academically, including the number of majors that we have, some of our popular academic programs, and then our student to faculty ratio. When you apply to Pitt as a freshman, you apply to one of our 5 freshman entry-level schools. So technically all of our students, except for our nursing students, are undecided their first year. So you'll really take that first year or so to explore different majors within your school. We have our largest school, the Kenneth P. Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, the College of Business Administration, better known as Pitt Business, the Swanson School of Engineering, the School of Computing and Information, and lastly, our School of Nursing. We also have a handful of upper-level division programs, including the School of Pharmacy, the School of Education, the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, the School of Social Work, and the College of General Studies. With all of these programs, our students will apply to the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences as a pre-pharmacy major, pre-social work major. They'll complete 2 years within the liberal arts program, completing their general education curriculum before applying and transferring to that upper level division program. So our first school is the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences. It's our largest undergraduate school, home to the majority of our students. These would include our social science, science, and humanities majors. There are close to 60 majors and minors for our students to choose from, and lots of certificate programs as well, which are interdisciplinary programs, so our students can take courses within a department, but also take classes in a variety of different departments. So they're not restricted to just one academic area. So it's a really robust way to complement a major or a minor. The majority of our Dietrich students do double major, have a minor, a certificate, or a combination of these things. For our arts and sciences students, they'll start off with a general academic advisor, at least for their freshman year or until they declare their major. At that point, they'll move over to a departmental advisor. Our College of Business Administration, better known as Pitt Business, is home to 7 majors and 6 certificates. The business school likes to use the tagline from the classroom to the city to the world. So the first year, our students are really getting acclimated to the city of Pittsburgh, the college community, and engaging with their peers and faculty within the business program. From there, we want the students to possibly find an internship within the city of Pittsburgh or wherever that might be. And then lastly, we want our students to go into the world and get that global perspective through a study abroad experience and perhaps an international internship as well. On average, our business students have about 3 internships before they graduate. So there's definitely a focus on professional development and networking. Lastly, you'll see the specific courses we're looking for when you're applying for admission. The School of Computing and Information is our newest school on campus, but Pitt is not new to the computer science world. We have one of the oldest programs in the country. This program was just developed because we felt there was a need to have a more specialized and technical academic program for our students to pursue. There are 4 majors and 1 minor, and a lot of our computer science and information science majors do end up with a double major or a minor, usually combining with one of our liberal arts programs. There are a lot of opportunities for internships and jobs in the computer science field in Pittsburgh, because that's really an area that Pittsburgh is thriving in at this time. Lastly, you'll see what we're looking for as far as course requirements when applying to this school. Our Swanson School of Engineering is home to 10 majors and 10 minors. All of our engineering students will come in as an undeclared engineering major. Their freshman year, they'll take a seminar exposing them to the 10 majors before declaring their major for their sophomore year. There are a lot of research opportunities for engineering students in addition to cooperative education programs. So about 40% of our engineering students will complete a co-op program. It's not required. A lot of our engineering students also will complete an internship. Lastly, you'll see our high school requirements in regards to the application process. Our last freshman entry-level program is the School of Nursing. So this is a direct entry program. So students who apply to this program, you really have to get into it your freshman year, or else there's a very slim chance that you'll be able to get into it for your sophomore year. Our nursing students begin their clinicals their sophomore year, and these clinicals will be at a ratio of 7 to 1, and by your senior year, you'll be one-on-one with a nurse in your field of interest. Like I said earlier, we do have 6 hospitals on our campus, 5 affiliated with the university, so there's an incredible access to the hospital system for our nursing students, making it possible for them to go to class, do their clinicals, but also get involved with something on campus and have a robust college experience. The Pitt Honors Program is something that can really elevate your academic career and also make the university look smaller, if that's something that you're interested in. The perks of this program include priority course registration beginning in your 2nd semester of your freshman year. Our honors students can also take honors courses, usually about 1 to 2 per semester. They're not required. These classes are typically smaller, about 15 students, and there's just an expectation that you'll be more engaged in this classroom environment. We also have a living learning community for honors students. Again, not required to live in this living learning community, but a great option for students. They want to live with students who have a strong focus on academics, but they also bring in some great speakers and have some great opportunities for our students to engage outside of the classroom with honors staff or people who are interested in the same field as them. Lastly, honors students will have an honors mentor who will assist them with finding research opportunities, scholarships across campus or national scholarships, global scholarships. And this is just a good person, again, to bounce ideas off of and brainstorm for the future. Students who are interested in the honors program will use our same application for admission. You'll just check the box that you're interested in our honors program, and then we'll ask you to respond to the essay question. If you could change anything in the world, what would it be? Explain why and how you would change it. The Pitt Honors Program does not require you to apply with test scores. So when reviewing you for admission to this program, we'll be primarily focusing on your GPA and the rigor of classes you're taking, but there'll be a strong emphasis on your response to that essay question. So be sure to take your time and have a thoughtful response to that essay prompt. When you apply for admission to Pitt, you can also indicate your interest in one of our graduate school guarantee programs, which you see on the screen here. All these guarantee programs have different criteria that you would have to meet as a freshman applicant. And with these guaranteed programs, you're guaranteed a spot in one of our upper level division programs or a program after your 4 years at Pitt. So we have a School of Medicine guarantee, which makes you exempt from taking the MCAT, and you're guaranteed a spot in our School of Medicine, or our MBA program. With all of these programs, if you're admitted and given a spot in one of these programs, you are not, it's not a binding agreement, but it's a nice opportunity for students to say as a senior in high school that they are guaranteed a spot in one of these programs at Pitt. So now let's talk a little bit about what our students do for fun outside of the classroom. Again, I think much more like a larger institution in regards to this aspect of our college experience. So we have over 700 student organizations for our students to get involved in. Everything from academics, politics, cultural opportunities, the arts, intramurals. At Pitt, Greek life is about 10% of our population. So not a huge presence. It's a great way for students to get involved if they're looking for that kind of community and social experience, but it's not something you definitely have to get involved in. Pitt Serves is one of our more popular student organizations on campus, and this is an organization that will have at least one service project for students to get involved with every weekend. We are Division I athletics, involved in Division I athletics in the ACC, or the Atlantic Coast Conference. So, there's a lot of school spirit on our campus. Men's basketball and football are two of our more popular and well-attended events by our students, but there are a lot of other men's and women's teams that our current students can support. Our football team plays at Heinz Field, so we share this stadium with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's located in downtown Pittsburgh. It's a great way for our students to truly get off campus and learn more about student traditions and cheer on our Panthers, who are having a pretty good year so far. The Pitt Arts Program is a sponsored activity for our current students as well. So the Pitt Arts Program allows our students to go to fine arts or cultural events such as the ballet, the symphony orchestra, musicals, plays, for free or at a reduced ticket rate. So again, a great way, maybe you really like the fine arts and that's something you're really interested in, but maybe you've never experienced something like that. This is a free or relatively inexpensive way for you to do a new kind of activity. In regards to study abroad, we offer over 350 programs in 75 countries, so plenty of experiences for our students to choose from. We have the typical semester programs, year-long programs, spring break programs, and Maymester programs. So depending on what you're looking for, most of these programs are sponsored by the university, so all of your financial aid would transfer over, making it a great option for students. We are a Research One institution, so if research is on your horizon, it's definitely a priority at the university, and we allow our first-year students to begin research their second semester. So lots of support for that. Lastly, we do have our internship guarantee program. So as long as students complete the internship prep program, they are guaranteed at least one internship or experiential learning opportunity within their field of study. So this program will ask you to develop a cover letter, a resume, and conduct a mock interview where you'll be recorded and get some feedback on what you did well and what you could improve upon. So while a lot of students will do a lot of this on their own, it's great to have our career services create this program that can support students in finding an internship and hopefully a job after they graduate. In regards to residence life, we do have a 3-year housing guarantee. So you are guaranteed 3 years of residential housing at the university, which is pretty rare for an urban institution. You are not required to live on campus as a first-year student. But about 99% of our first year students do live on campus, and it's a great way just to get acclimated and make friends. We do have 14 residence halls, 9 residence halls for our first year students to choose from, including Nordenberg Hall, which is our newest residence hall on campus and has some great amenities. We also have living learning communities. So if you're looking to live somewhere with like-minded students and not just general residence life, this could be an opportunity for you. And some of these living learning communities include honors, business, engineering, nursing, and other areas such as the health sciences, community service, and the arts. In regards to our application process, we do practice rolling admission, but I would encourage you to apply sooner rather than later. It does demonstrate your interest in the university. We are on the Common application, which is where most of our students apply, but we're also on the Coalition application, and we do have our own Pitt app. The only difference between the Common application, the Coalition application, and the Pitt application is that the Pitt application is much shorter. There's not as many questions to complete or fields to fill out. So if you're only applying to Pitt or you really want to get your application into Pitt, that might be a great option for you. We do have a $55 application fee. We do ask for your official transcript from your high school, or you could complete the self-reported academic record. So after you complete your application and submit it to Pitt, within 1 to 2 business days, our admission office will send you a link to our self-reported academic record. By completing this online transcript, it will significantly speed up your review process. So instead of, typically about 4 to 6 weeks is the review process, it might speed up your review process by another 2 to 3 weeks if you submit a self-reported academic record. Like I said before, we are test optional except for the School of Nursing. So that's a decision for you to make on your own. And if you have questions about that, feel free to contact me. And then lastly, this is an optional part of the application, but strongly encouraged, especially if you want to be considered for one of our merit-based scholarships. So we have 4 short answer essay prompts, and we would like you to complete 2 of them. This just makes your application more robust and gives us additional information about you outside of what we can see through test scores or your transcript. So select 2 of these questions. If you're an engineering or business applicant, I'd strongly encourage you to complete the 3rd prompt, which is noted below. We're looking for quality over quantity, so about 250 to 300 words total, and I would really only encourage you to complete 2. You could complete more if you feel really passionate about more than one of these prompts, but we're really only asking for 2. Additional materials you could submit are your Common App personal statement or a separate personal statement, a list of activities, or letters of recommendation. All of these materials are not required, but are just an option for you if you feel like you want to add it to your application. Once you apply to Pitt and we review your application, we'll make one of 4 decisions. So the first and the best is that you're admitted to the Pitt campus, and we'd love to have you here. The second is that maybe we need some additional materials from you, maybe some supplemental writing, or we want to see your grades from your first semester of your senior year. The third is that we maybe admitted you to one of our regional campuses. We have 3 of them, and these are more suburban and rural. And this is a good option for students to maybe complete 1 or 2 years before transferring to our Pittsburgh campus. Lastly, and this doesn't happen often, sometimes we do have to deny students to the university. So like I said, to be considered for one of our merit-based scholarships, you need to complete 2 of the short answer prompts. Scholarships at Pitt are pretty competitive. Usually around 25% of our incoming students will receive a merit-based scholarship. For out-of-state students, these scholarships typically begin at about $5,000, go up to $15,000 before our full tuition and our full ride scholarships, which are very competitive. To be considered a priority applicant for one of these scholarships, you would need to apply by December 15th. If you do apply after this date, we will still review you for an academic scholarship. There's just not as much scholarship money to award at that point. And we are test optional for scholarships, so you don't have to submit test scores to be considered for one of these. So like I had said before, we do practice rolling admission, but there are a few important deadlines to keep in mind. So Our application opened up August 1st, and we have been reviewing applications for the past couple of weeks. So decisions should be going out right now. If you're interested in that med school guaranteed program, the deadline is November 1st. Our honors deadline is December 1st, and you'll be notified about the honors program by February 1st or earlier. Like the previous slide just said, December 15th is our scholarship deadline. And then lastly, if you're interested in the physician assistant guarantee, that deadline is January 15th. Lastly, if you haven't applied to Pitt, I would definitely encourage you to apply. And if you have questions about the application process, feel free to get in touch with me. If you haven't engaged with the university yet, outside of something like this virtual visit, I would encourage you to attend some of our unscripted events. So we track demonstrated interest in the application process, and we have some great online events for our students to participate in that will be really helpful and informative to you, especially since you can't be on campus right now. I'd also encourage you to follow us on social media. This is a great way to see what day-to-day life looks like at Pitt, even during times like this. What are students doing during a pandemic? It also shows you things like what weather's like in Pittsburgh, which if you're not aware, it's very similar to Illinois and the Chicagoland region. We get all 4 seasons. I would just say from what I've heard, since I haven't lived in Pittsburgh before, maybe a little bit more rain than snow. So buy a good umbrella. Lastly, when we are allowed to have students on our campus, the students that have been admitted to Pitt will be the first ones that we invite. So that might be the nudge to apply sooner rather than later. But hopefully, you know, in late in the year, maybe late November or December, or possibly in the new year, we're hoping to get small groups of families and admitted students onto our campus. So lastly, you can see my contact information on the screen. Please feel free to get in touch with me. Like you and many others, we're probably at our computer all day. So email is a great first way to touch base with me. You could always call me. I'm willing to set up video phone calls with students as well, and I'd really love to connect with you. So at this time, I'll take any questions that you might have. And thanks so much for joining me tonight. And I know you might not have questions tonight, so more than willing to take any emails that you might have. But we do have a question that just came in. So could you please tell me a little bit more about your biomedical program? So I'm assuming this is the bioengineering program, and I could just also talk about the pre-med. I'll just talk about the pre-med program and maybe the med school guarantee. So the pre-med program at Pitt, obviously it's not a major, and it's a track for our students. So it is one of our more popular tracks at the university, simply because of the resources that we have to offer. So we do have an excellent resource for our students who are thinking health sciences, specifically the med schools on the horizon. So very recently, I think it's been 2 to 3 years, we opened a new resource office called the Pitt Interprofessional Center for Health Careers. We call it the PIC. So instead of remembering that mouthful, we have the PIC for our students. So this is a resource center for our students to connect with someone who they could think of as a pre-med advisor, because your actual academic advisor won't be able to necessarily advise you on what you're supposed to be doing or what's on the horizon for you. So this resource office will help you stay on track with your pre-med requisite courses. So what you should be taking, when you should be taking it. This office can also help you find research opportunities at the university, in addition to helping you find schools that might be a good fit for you for med school, and then helping you work through that application process. So their goal is just to really set you up for success while you're a current student, and then after life at Pitt. With our med school guarantee, it is one of our more competitive guaranteed programs on campus. It is test optional this year. So no test scores required. We'll really be focusing on your grades and your essay responses. So with the med school guarantee, typically about 500 to 600 students will meet our initial criteria. These students will then complete an essay for the School of Medicine. So you'll be notified, that you've been admitted to Pitt. We'll give you the prompt to the School of Medicine essay response. The School of Medicine will review your essay response. Usually this process can take anywhere from you've been admitted, you might hear back about the med school response. I believe it's usually late January, early February, because that med school guarantee deadline is November 1st. From there, about 50 students will be invited to complete an interview, which may very well be a virtual interview, not an in-person interview. And typically we'll select about 10 to 12 students for the med school guarantee. So it is a very competitive program at Pitt, and a really academically rigorous program. You have to maintain a certain GPA at the university, and you're required to complete a certain amount of research beginning your first year as well. But it's a really great program to get into, really robust, and definitely a prestigious program for our incoming students. Any other questions? I'll give it a couple of more minutes. As far as, sometimes students are curious about in-state, out-of-state students. The hope is, within the next 2 to 3 years, that will be about 50% in-state students, 50% out-of-state students. Right now, about 42% of our population are out-of-state students. The biggest areas our students are coming from outside of Pennsylvania are New Jersey, New York, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. And Illinois is in our top 10. Typically, we get about 60 to 75 students from the area. Most of the students are from the greater Chicagoland area, but we do have, a few outliers from Southern Illinois or, the suburbs that are located near the Chicagoland area, like Rockford or the Quad Cities. But a lot of students, right around on the lakeshore area. So a good amount of students coming from the state of Illinois. Pitt's a nice school to go to if you're looking, for a fresh start, maybe not to see too many peers from your high school. A lot of high schools were maybe only getting about 2 to 3 students each year. So a great school to have on your list if you're looking for a fresh start, to get a little bit outside of that traditional college search radius. We're about an 8 to 9 hour drive from most Chicagoland locations. It is a 1 hour flight. And we're a nice urban location if you're looking for something a little bit further away, maybe a little bit smaller than the Chicagoland area, but definitely still a major city with a lot of great amenities for our students to choose from. So I'll wait another minute and then we'll call it a night, but thank you so much for attending. All right, we did get a question in here. So what opportunities are there for first generation students? So that's a great question. We have a lot of great resources for our first generation students on our campus. We have some specific programming to help with your transition to college, but this isn't just even reserved for first generation students. So for any students that are, feel like they'd like a little bit of additional help in the transition process, we have some specific academic programming and social programming that can help you acclimate to the city, to the academic rigor, to just living independently for the first time. A lot of these programs are also covered in our first year orientation that it's online and you would take it over the summer. But once you're on campus, our student affairs office really takes over from there. And there's a lot of weeknight, evening programming just to get students connected. And there's a lot, you can actually have a first year mentor to connect with, to help, be a resource for you should you have any questions throughout the transition to college. Another great question here, how flexible is Pitt with taking classes in different colleges before declaring a major? Great question, and probably something I should have covered earlier on. So let's say we'll have an example here. I guess I'll just first say that if you're a nursing student or an engineering student, it's difficult to have another major in any of our other colleges on campus, just because your curriculum is so structured and pretty demanding. But a lot of our engineering or nursing students might have a minor within the arts and sciences program, or like engineering, they might have a minor within engineering. But let's say you're a business student and you want to take, or let's say you're an arts and sciences student, but then maybe you change your mind and you're interested in pursuing a business program. You would just have to apply to the College of Business and make sure you meet certain math criteria. But to answer this question specifically, as a freshman applicant, you apply to a specific school. It's difficult to take courses in other schools without declaring a major, just because of limited space. So that's when if business, let's say business or computer science are even on your radar as a freshman applicant, I would encourage you to apply to one of those schools first. See if you get in as a freshman applicant. And if you do get in, even the rest of this year up until, May 1st, you can try to determine whether or not you want to be in one of those more competitive programs, because there are specific high school math components we're looking for. It's always easier to fall back into our liberal arts program. It's more difficult to move into a different program from the liberal arts. But a lot of our students will double major. So we'll have our arts and sciences students, they'll have a liberal arts major, but they'll also have a business major. So it works a little bit easier between business and the arts and sciences program. It gets more complicated with our other professional schools like computer science, engineering, and nursing. But in general, we like to say we can be very flexible. It's just those more rigorous programs that have a lot of structure to them, where it's more difficult to be a little more lenient with who can take what classes. I hope that answered your question. If it did not, feel free to send me an email one day. Any other questions from the group? All right. How does the Pitt Honors College work? And no worries if it's good for me to cover it again. So with the honors program, at least application-wise, you apply within the same application that you would for admission. So you would just check the box and complete the short answer question, and then we'll look at your transcript and the rigor of the classes you've taken. If you choose to accept your, let's say you've been admitted to the honors program and you choose to accept that spot. Academically, you do have priority course registration, but you can also take honors level courses. And there's also some additional programming like coffee talks or other professional development or networking opportunities for you. But the honors courses are really what our honors students like to take advantage of. You can take 1 to 2 of these per semester, either within your major or an elective course. They're smaller in size, so usually no more than 15 students. And it's meant to be a really engaging class. So for example, usually it's an academic topic combined with like a current event. So one of the classes combines an academic topic with Game of Thrones, or something else that's going on in the world. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. And those courses, a course like that typically isn't offered to your traditional everyday student. It's a special offering for our honors students. And these are courses that our faculty take a lot of time to create. And they have a lot of fun teaching them as well. But also with the honors program, you can live in the honors living learning community, and you'll also have an honors mentor. So this is a staff member within the honors college, and they're there to sort of serve as a second advisor to you academically, but also provide you guidance in regards to other scholarships you could apply for, research at the university or elsewhere, and just someone to bounce ideas off of. So it's a great program to make the university feel maybe a little bit smaller, but also to just give you a little bit of an extra edge, or maybe challenge you a little bit more in the classroom, if that's the academic experience that you're looking for. So great question. Thanks again all for sending those in. I know I still have a few more minutes. All right. Do you have to reapply to the honors program each year, or does it carry throughout the 4 years? So with the honors program, you do not have to reapply each year, as long as you're in good academic standing. So just making academic progress. And I believe even if, let's say you don't have a great semester, I believe you have a semester to a year, to show that you made progress, you made positive progress academically. And this kind of leads to a great point. So let's say you don't get admitted to the honors program your first year. This doesn't mean that you can't engage in the honors program. It just means you're not a part of like the official diploma program yet. So even if you don't get admitted to honors your freshman year, you can always apply your sophomore or your junior year. And even as a freshman student who did not get admitted to honors, if there's space available and you prove that you're strong in a specific academic area, that there's a course available in, you could take that honors level course. Our honors program would still encourage you to engage with them. So go up to the top 2 floors of the Cathedral of Learning, talk to our honors mentors, socialize with other honors students, and maybe participate in some of those coffee talks, or they have, movie nights where they watch, a specific film, and then there's a conversation about that topic. So even if you don't get admitted to honors your first year, there's still a lot of ways for you to engage with that academic community. And we would strongly encourage you to do that. And the honors program would really encourage you to do that, and then reapply your sophomore year. If I promise you, if you're in good academic standing and you've been engaged your entire freshman year, you should get into that honors program for your sophomore year. Great question. Thanks for reminding me of that topic, of that point. All right. I think that's all we might have for this evening. So again, my name's Betsy. I'd be your contact at the university. I'm always in Central Time. I always get that question, are you on the East Coast time? Are you in Central Time? So I'm on your time. Feel free to contact me with any questions throughout this process. And I hope you have a great evening. Hail to Pitt.
Thanks, Betsy, for that presentation tonight. Just to conclude, thank you all for joining us. When you close this window, there will be a link for a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate your feedback that you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at IACAC.org. In about a week, you will be able to find this session recording as well as all the other session recordings at IACAC.org. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great evening.